Hey BBs, welcome for a very exciting Wicked unboxing. So let's get into her or them. So welcome back to the Wicked sphere where we talk about all things wicked and yeah, let's dish. Okay, so this is going to be like an unboxing slash let's reflect on part one era and get into some nitty gritty. So here is Elphie and Glindy. Yasss, love the duo. Finally, can open the baddies. I've been waiting for this moment. As of now, I haven't gotten into these squirrels. They've always been boxed. But speaking of boxes, they got some cute details, like their silhouette and like their weapon of choice, or I guess like their magical instrument. From the Wicked logo to the little munchkin tulips at the bottom. They also have these cute butterfly and like winged monkey motifs. But I'm sure y'all are wondering, do they have the infamous wicked.com URL? And the answer is no. Otherwise, I wouldn't be unboxing. So, I got these girlies on discount from Walmart. I know, I shouldn't be contributing to the Sam Walton fund, but consumerism won that day, unfortunately. Ugh, but they were both slightly over half off, so that's what made me decide to do it. Mostly out of the urge of having unboxed deluxes. Both of my other deluxes have the URL and are like pre-boycott, so they will remain enclosed in their boxes. Whereas these ones will most definitely be getting played with. Like, yes, I can't wait. Mostly excited to see how this is compared to her singing dress, though, and getting my hands on the new accessories like the book and her grimoire bag, which is more of like a For Good Part 2 Easter egg. The Wicked dolls are pretty nicely packaged with large open windows for in-box displaying. It was pretty good for my Wicked shrine, but I did have to take it down to make room for good merch, but I haven't really bought anything from them yet. I did purchase some of the mini dolls, like the Emerald City set and the Shiz student pack, and some of the balloons, as well as like the individual marble figure from Five Below, but that's about it. Side note, really quickly, I always wondered why they included this being in the part 1 series. Like, it's more of a spoiler for part 2. Because when we saw the bag via the trailer or like that one close up image, I was already like desensitized. Plus, it doesn't make sense continuity wise. Like, she only had her school bag versus this bag, which I'm assuming gets made between the two films, like off screen. Anywho, I guess I can still appreciate that they gave it to us anyway. Whatever. But also, it's kind of sad in like the movie that she gets invited to meet the wizard and she decides to like put more color in her fits with like the purple shift underneath, almost like kind of like over the morning of her mother's passing, and just kind of like the life she's been living the past few years, only for it to have it thrown back in her face when she learns the truth. You know, it's just like very sad. She decides to like open up, step out a little bit more, and it's like, nope, don't do that. Or at least the timing is off when she feels comfortable to do so. It kind of like almost wants to send her back into like that, okay, I'm not going to be open anymore. So she kind of like already has like another doll with like a basic version of this dress, which to me is kind of boring. Um, I believe they should have given us a Wizard and I singing doll instead of the Divine Gravity one, but oh well. This one has more purple undertones versus like the straight black gown, and it's ultimately the same silhouette and ultimately the same dress, so I'm unimpressed. Plus, it comes with another hat accessory. Yay. And her cape, which is probably the worst offender from this one. With like its raw edges, they're definitely going to be fraying, and it's made out of like a super thin fabric, and it's giving like low budget. IDK, IDK. But definitely the broom and the stand are like the saving grace and like kind of just make this more worth it to me because there's only one broom in the whole line and it comes with this one. Like, come on. Moving on to Glinda in similar packaging, just more pink. She's definitely giving deluxe vibe from inside the box. So let's see if she is or isn't. All these Wicked dolls have like the same base doll used and the rest of their play line, all except for the singing dolls. They have the same bodies and the same articulation. And nothing had really been changed until the new music box dolls that had been released that have like a pearlescent finish to their skin, giving them more of like a dewy and ethereal look. You know, very mystical, very wise one, very saint. Glinda is in her pink bubble dress, the same dress used to spread the good news to the citizens of Oz. I'm sure this will have more of a deeper meaning, or at least a feeling, post part 2. It looks like this is the gown she wears while running up the stairs in the tower from the first ever released images of Wicked. She looks like she's also holding the Grimmery, possibly mid-singing the For Good finale, hopefully, because they left it off of the soundtrack listing. Which is also kind of crazy in itself because she'll probably end Wicked Part 2 in the pink bubble dress, but she began Wicked Part 1 in the pink bubble dress. You know, the end is always in the beginning, or like however they say it. It's pretty crazy. I love it. Okay, so out of the box, the dress ain't dressing, or at least the fabric isn't. It's very like the live action Ariel's tail from her deluxe doll. That like plastic, papery, playline material, you know, that's like for heavy play. Like, come on, please just use real fabric, Mattel. Pleek. Pleek. The printed on details are cute, but we all know that the bar was kind of low for these. Like, her accessories are super cute, like the bubble tiara and like the bubble bursting wand, which she uses to pop her bubble coach. And it also in itself looks like a bubble popping, kinda. Both the wand and the broom don't have like a handle or like that little grippy thingy. So it'll have to be fastened using like a rubber band, or you can just like freestyle it. She has like no petticoat underneath her gown, which would have been lovely, just to give like fluff and dimension to the skirt. Or at least like some more tulle. Like, stop being so stingy, y'all, at Mattel. Come on. As display items out of the box, they look cute. I'm still gonna have fun while playing with them, so I'm not like super offended by their choices, but I just know that they could have made better ones. Their stands are cute and like personal, and like they actually tie everything together. Only thing is, Glinda should have been pink. Just saying. pink and green, you know? But the silver one's cute, I guess. Plus, I feel like she could have come with more plastic accessories, besides the earrings. She could have come with, like, I don't know, a tulip flower from Munchkin Land. It wouldn't have made sense to come with a flower, but still. Or she could have came with like a Wicked Witch flyer that would have like been chef's kiss. Like, spread that propaganda, girl. But the thing that gets me is that we get these two outfits for their deluxes for part one. When, like, story wise, they never even see each other, these dresses. So, like, they're also from different timelines, but they're expected to chill side by side on my shelf. It's just like little things like this that get me going. I don't know. We could have gotten like an Emerald City Glinda with like a removable jacket, plus some like Emerald City Sunnies, a Wizamania ticket, or like the pamphlet that she gives Elfie saying, I hope you get your heart's desire. Or like maybe even that green smock thingy she wears to the salon. She could have gotten double the items, you know what I mean? Just to like make it up. But and they could have also given the bubble dress like a proper release with like real fabric, kind of like her For Good collectible doll with like the bubble packaging. Ugh, I would have cried. Like, come on. At this point, I'm just giving Mattel all of these useful unpaid ideas. But I guess I gotta be grateful for what we have. And so far, Wicked Part 1's been selling this idea of like friendship and like two girls who become besties, which is like, yeah, that happens, but I feel like that's not the heart of the story. It's not the meat and the bones, which is what the musical paints a picture of, which is not like my favorite aspect of these like renditions of the novel, which focuses heavily on Elphaba's story, navigating an oppressed Oz, advocating for animal rights, fighting against not only the colonizer wizard who's segregating Oz, but who's also turning the citizens against themselves, i.e., the people versus the animals, while she's also fighting against herself and her past decisions and like what's led her to her life now. You know? It's semi-heavy stuff, but it's basically a reflection of the real world and like, the United States today, which is actually kind of crazy because the book came out in the 90s, but it's super relevant to today's current society and just the US's past and history. Not even from like America, but it can relate to like even like the Palestinian genocide that is happening on the other side of the globe right now. It's just like more of a tragic story. Plus, Elphaba's journey is technically cut short due to the accidental melting. Like, she doesn't get to take down the wizard and expose him. She doesn't get closure with, who's still living. And she doesn't just get to accomplish the goals that she had set out for herself. And is like forever labeled the Wicked Witch, a terror of Oz. So it's just a little bit more sad. IDK. But that's just the book. The musical is made out to be more palatable and cutesy, which is fine, but I was hoping for more book elements that would have made it to the big screen. Some did, like the Alma clutch. They had kind of like a nanny figure. They even had like a form of like the time clock dragon, which was like small, but okay, whatever. And then they even had gays with like Bo and Yang as Fanny. I mean, I'm talking more about Tibbet and Crope, but it's cool that they like channeled them, I guess, through gender swapping Fanny. Everic was also casted, but he wasn't utilized in the movie. IDK, how I feel about that. One change I didn't like was the history of the jeweled shoes being their moms. I guess it gives more weight for when it belongs to Nessa, then Glinda gives it to Dorothy. But to me, it's like, okay, I guess. It's just things are different from the novel versus the musical. And I fell in love with the musical first, but after reading the novel, I fell more in love with the novel. And to me, the musical just seems like super watered down and like not really the same story, but I still love both because I fell in love with the musical first as like a kid, like over 20 years ago. Isn't that crazy? But like also like how far we've come from like the beginning of the Wicked movie era, from like the first looks being released to like, the photoshopping AIB, even Ari stealing someone's man, to now, which is us waiting for Wicked Part 2 goodies. And nothing much has really happened, like, gossipy wise, I guess, other than Cynthia and Ariana possibly, you know, you know. But other than that, that's about it for now. I'm super happy and I love these little girlies. They're beyond cute and they're ready to be placed on the Wicked Shrine. But love you, babies. Hope you're having a good whatever. Bye.